All right. So, what I think I would like to do tonight is skip the introduction. I would like to go straight to the action and maybe catch up on who you are and the quirks of your character kind of in flashback.
A world where ruthless terrorist organization is determined to rule the earth.
Cobra! Attack!
A world where sometimes machines are more than meets the eye. A world where heroes are determined to stop the forces of evil, whether it be man, snake, machine, or something else. A world that needs heroes.
Yo, Joe!
A world that needs the Energon protocols.
Okay. To start this adventure, the 4 new Joes. Actually, you're not technically G.I. Joes yet. So you're at the base in Nevada, and you have answered Beachhead's call. He has reached out to some of his more esoteric contacts in all of the weird subgroups that he's aware of and that the Almost Joes have interacted with, and asked for assistance in both rescuing his people, you guys, and in helping to coordinate information gathering on this new source of conflict, potentially called Cobra or something to that effect. Some sort of stake motif is going on, but that's almost all anybody knows. And over the course of the 6 days that the recruiting happens, the 4 of you show up. So let's take them in a random order.
Salutations, individuals within my social network. Are you hearing the emission of sound waves in the audible frequency range?
Yes?
Yeah.
Is my interpersonal connection communicating properly?
Yes?
Excellent! You notice that Carbide is standing on the ceiling, which is probably a little weird.
Carbide look like the Hero Forge character or the picture of the ninja bat thing?
The Hero Forge character, however, the feet appear to have some sort of strange gripper that is gripping onto the ceiling like Velcro would. So it's hooked. He's waving a little bit back and forth, but he is indeed standing on the ceiling. He is dressed in neon and has a slightly crazed look on his face. He also has a large, very electronic, futuristic-looking sword that seems to have an energy beam as the blade.
Lightsaber. Cool.
Pray elucidate the specific task or inquiry upon which I may bestow my assistance.
We'll get to that, soldiers. Hold your horses.
Accepted and filed away.
Mongoose.
You see a guy who's about 5'8", 160 pounds, close cropped goatee, short hair, just decked out in black tactical gear. Looks like he's ready to go kill something. And he just kind of looks around. He's like, okay, well, he looks up at Carbide. I take it you're not our stealth specialist.
Well, I can be less audible if it is required in order to preserve my biodiversity.
Gotcha. He probably is not going to wear the helmet. He will have his hair out. He'll look more like the bottom pitcher.
So now that you're kind of looking at him a little bit more, Carbide seems to have some sort of circuitry just below his skin that's glowing green and pulsing, as if energy is running through it.
I'm primarily a tactical shooter for a hostage rescue team, so if I'm here, someone probably needs saving.
Okay. Shoehorn, introduce yourself.
So, yeah, this hunched-over, bird-like man just kind of lets out a shrill screech and is looking at you, turning his head almost 180 degrees as he goes from person to person. He is masked. His mask has like a metal beak to it, and he is otherwise unarmed.
Alright. Your uniform had any unusual colors?
A lot of earth tones, or actually a lot of forest tones.
Okay.
Taxon belonging to the order Strigioforms. I am noticing that you are out during the day, but you have nocturnal habits. Why are you here?
You need me.
Appreciate your unique cranial morphology.
Thank you.
Mongoose is looking around like he's stuck in an episode of the X-Files at this point in time.
I think the X-Files is a little more grounded than what I'm going for.
Stealth mode.
Hello. So I look around. There's stealth mode. I'm currently without the helmet on the first picture. Average looking, short brownish black hair. I look around, look for Mongoose. You're asking about the stealth specialist? That'd be me.
Cool. I'm sticking with you.
And it looks like we've stepped into some sort of sci-fi movie.
No shit.
Our two companions.
And Beachhead pipes up and says, "Don't worry, soldier. These guys are just as much badass as you are, and they chew steel and spit out nails and do other manly things," because I immediately lost my train of thought. But they're vetted and tried and true members of the U.S. military. Maybe a secret branch, but there we go.
I'm happy to bestow my assistance and facilitate your progress or resolution to this problem.
All right. And he gives you a rundown of the mission. They have some small satellite footage or pictures of Springfield, sites A and B, and we'll kind of fade to black as he starts launching into his talking points. And we're going to pick up. Everyone is in essentially ghillie suits. You're about a mile away from the Springfield location on a slight rise. It's not really a hill, but it's Springfield sites A and B sit down in the ground. You're kind of in the western part of the Badlands, so it's still relatively flat, but you don't know if they've kind of dug it out or if it's just a naturally occurring low. But the town sits lower than the surrounding area, and you have taken advantage of that. But the entire difference in elevation is less than maybe 50 feet. So you're about a mile away. You're far enough away and far enough up that you can see site A and you can see the lights from site B. You're kind of in the middle, a little bit more towards Springfield proper, which is site A. No one's exactly sure what site B is called, and no clever U.S. serviceman has given it a menacing nickname yet.
Was it Site A or Site B that was the fake-looking town that our previous characters went through?
Site A is Springfield. That looked unfinished.
Okay, and then Site B was where we got captured.
Yes, that's where the troops trained.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had that right in my head.
Yep.
Okay.
I am done kind of fudging with your autonomy. You're on ghillie suits on the side of a kind of sort of hill, and you can see mostly both towns. So what do you want to do?
Do we know that they were our people that were sent in here after? Because we're sent in here after this team, right? That's our main mission is rescue and recovery?
Correct.
Okay. Do we know which site that they were at, or that this was just a general location?
You know nothing other than this is their last reported location.
Okay.
You got some HTB information, so you knew that there were two cities. You had coordinates, which is how you got like the satellite footage pictures, but you know nothing what happened inside.
Are these satellite images the visible light wavelengths, like human vision, or infrared imagery, which focuses on heat?
It's multi-spectrum, so there's a variety of angles and frequencies.
And do we know what area is radiating the greatest level of heat?
Site B.
Are there areas within Site B that are warmer than others?
There are areas inside of Site B that are hot, like multiple areas, to the point where it is a not a cause of concern, but a point of interest. But all of these locations are equally hot.
And were the remote sensors able to detect significant communications level transmissions from anything?
No. The HTBs were mostly blocked. All electromagnetic communication in this, call it a valley for lack of a better vocabulary, has been dampened. Regular radio waves, communication waves, satellite array information is not accessible. The HTB got out a little bit of information just because it operates in such a radical way compared to regular communications. But even that signal was hampered, which is why you don't have a lot of overtly detailed explanations of anything. You pretty much got the two pictures, but when the satellite would switch over to, see where the electromagnetic spikes and things would be, none of that shows up. You only get the heat sources because they're so large.
Well, I would say if that's where the heat sources are, that's where the pit of snakes is going to be.
More than likely.
I'm a mongoose, so let's go kill some snakes. I've never seen snakes hanging out where it's cold.
Right. I agree.
Just because we have heat signatures doesn't mean we know how many people are there. There could be cold.
I've got bullets for them as well.
That's ridiculous. As I look around at the group. Never mind.
As you look at them with your thermal goggles and realize the other two aren't giving off any heat signatures.
Never mind.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. You look at the three of us and you only see me.
Avian, do you have any adoptions for predation that would allow you to see the temperature difference between one being and another?
I'm sure we can requisition something.
I do. Just double check how the true sight spell works. The spell's active. You can make alertness skill tests to notice things that are invisible or magically hidden. So I do.
I suspected as much. Avians of
do
the
almost
Stringiforms do have exceptional low light vision.
Come up with a plan.
We pretty much got to the idea we're going to Site B.
Okay.
That's as far as we got.
There was a discussion about perhaps requisitioning some mechanisms by which we might be able to see in lower light situations.
Okay. Everybody can have one of those. We're going to gloss over a couple of things simply for time saving. We got a lot of stuff we're going to pack into this session, which is why I initially had the idea to kind of skip the introductions, but that's fine. It would just be too awkward to try and flash back without some sort of prep going on. But we'll gloss over the requisitions, and as stuff comes up, just, no nuclear suitcases or anything, but you guys can basically have any three things that you're going to need over the course of the session.
I thought that dirty bomb was my birthday gift.
You get a free upgrade. I don't know if we can go full nuclear, but if you want something a little exotic or a little unusual.
Honestly, I would just like to take deadly on my pistol. So it does 2 damage instead of 1.
So be it.
Sweet.
Ryan, you also have a free one coming.
I'm gonna try and go just with magic.
Okay. All right. So Site B. It's about a 2-mile hike. What time of day do you want it to be?
Night.
Night, yeah.
Okay. Late at night. Let's say it's summer-ish, so it gets dark around 10:15.
So then we're looking at about midnight.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Midnight, no later than 1 o'clock.
It's 12:03.
All right.
I'm proceeding to minimize my acoustic emissions and reduce my visual conspicuousy.
Sounds good.
Sounds real good. All right. I say let's move out as quietly as we can. Get as close as we can, and then as we get closer, start seeing what we can see and start clearing buildings and doing what we got to do.
Easy enough. Why don't we get stealth rolls for the approach?
Yay.
I need to find out what my stealth is.
And as always, you can argue for different skills. I'm not necessarily married to anyone.
17.
15.
I take it we are not in urban settings yet, or...
No.
Yeah.
It's stealth under. I'm missing it entirely.
Oh, it's infiltration.
Infiltration, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Got it.
I got a lot of rule sets jumbling around up here. I get them confused every now and again.
I completely blanked. That's a thing I should have been able to do. That gives me a 14.
25.
Dang.
20.
Damn.
The same, but
Per his name, once you turn away and lose sight of stealth mode, you never see him again.
The capper?
He went into the quantum zone.
Okay. This stealth roll, let's combine that with some sort of alertness, observation, investigative roll.
Ooh, that's only a 4. I'm working really close on being quiet. Or not being quiet.
What did you roll?
Alertness.
Is this something that I would have time to prepare a spell that would make me better at it, or is this more just like passive alertness?
You can cast the spell, certainly.
Okay, so then it lets me see invisible and hidden things, or magically hidden things.
Okay.
That's only a 9.
I integrate my visual output. I identify patterns, objects, and potential threats, and roll a 23.
stealth mode 18, and it was a natural 6.
On what?
I'm sorry, on alertness.
Okay. You're about a mile away from Site B. There's about a 2-mile span between site A and site B. So you at this point, you basically lost sight of site A. You can still see the glow of like the street lamps and things, but you can't see any details of the town. You all kind of instinctively gather at a small cop group.
Oops.
Yeah, that one, of trees, just to take a little break, reassess, look around, make sure you're not being observed. And in the course of doing that, the grouping of trees hides a vent, like a conspicuously large vent that could be crawled into. That's how all the good infiltration movies are.
All right, guys, I think we found our way in.
This should facilitate our entrance.
I have a burglary kit with me, so I will go ahead and try to open this sucker up for us.
Okay.
And let's see, what kit do I have? Okay, so I am going to take a edge on my burglary test for 1 hour.
What is that roll? What is a burglary roll?
It's an infiltration is where it goes under.
Okay.
And holy shit, I rolled ones on both of my 20s.
Nice.
And a 3 on my D8. Can I use a story point and reroll one of the 20s?
Yes.
I will do that because holy cow.
That's what they're there for.
Okay, that's better. That's a 17, so I got a dirty 20.
Okay.
Quantum reality modified.
Yeah. Okay. You managed to get the vent cover off. There is some sort of small electronic alarm just inside, like maybe a laser tripwire or something, and you almost tripped it, but you managed not to at the last second, thanks to the story point, and it's going to be a tight squeeze. Do Shoehorn or Carbide have any unusual dimensions outside of normal human parameters?
In fact, do.
Yeah, I have wings, but they're magically conjured. But they are, like, they're not energy wings or anything, so I do actually have a pair of wings.
Okay. But they are only present when you want them to be?
No, I have to, like, summon them at the beginning of the day, but then they're there for the day, and they are, technically, according to the spell, giant butterfly wings.
Okay. And then what is your...
Carbide basically starts looking very liquid. His bones do not seem to have a fixed shape, and so he kind of compresses and squeezes. And if I have to fit through something that I wouldn't normally fit through, I would have to try to use finesse in order to be able to do that. He basically moves like Mercury.
Okay.
Also create an extrasensory projection, and I can teleport. So with that combination, I can get myself into almost anywhere.
All right. Sounds good. So, yeah, if they're butterfly wings, they're slightly malleable.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So you could probably make another stealth test to get down, or you can certainly use your ESP and teleportation spell. Your choice.
So the ESP really takes a lot out of my spellcasting, so I will try and fit inside just the traditional non-magical way.
Okay.
That's a dirty 20.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Shall I try to finesse my way down there safely?
If you can compress yourself at all, you're fine, because Mongoose and stealth mode would fit down okay. I was just looking for something that would make you wider or more bulky than normal, like the wings that could interfere with your ability to get down the tube. But if you can compress yourself and go Mercury, then you really don't have to roll anything.
So just for game purposes, I have elastification 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's an unusually long way down, like 100 feet, like to the point where towards the end you have to start putting in actual effort to maintain quietness and to get down relatively smoothly. Shoehorn might get stuck once or twice, get the wings caught on a vent crease or something, but it's nothing that doesn't take more than 5 or 6 seconds to fix, and you all continue on your way. The vent dumps down into what is essentially an air purification room. The tunnel was for a release of essentially built up carbon dioxide, and with the natural oxygen that the machine is supplying, you didn't have any difficulty breathing on your way down, although you're a little tired. So you drop down into like a maintenance room. There are several large machines that are air conditioners, essentially. One seems to be made out of, it's a metal casing that houses bioorganic components. And another one is a standard air exchanger, like that would be in underground dwellings or spaces. The room is about 30 by 30, has no windows, only one door.
I am going to move over to the door, and in a weird way, Mongoose is going to pretend he didn't see the bioorganic in the one case, and pretend that he's not in the weirdest sci-fi movie he's ever been in or seen. I'm going to move over to the door. Can I do an alertness check to see if I can hear anything on the other side?
Yes.
That's a 15.
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm usually quiet. Of course, it is like 12:30 at night.
We'll let the other guys know it's quiet.
Okay.
I would like to look and determine if the stack effect of this particular ventilation system has such temperature differences that it would cause the vertical movement of air throughout the entire facility.
Okay. Give me some sort of technology roll. Doesn't have to specifically be technology, but,
I think I would rather go with science.
Okay.
I'm unable to determine that at this time. 4.
Yeah. Well, you have no idea how big the base is and how much they need to oxygenate, and you have no idea if this is the only air exchanger room. So your data compilation is insufficient to make a comparison or a calculation.
No available conclusions at this time.
Shoehorn.
I am kind of curious about the bio stuff it's off to the side or it's right in the center of the room.
There are 2 machines. They were like big industrial generators. They're like, 7 or 8 feet high, maybe 12 or 13 feet long, and 5 or 6 feet wide. And they both occupy equidistant space in basically the middle of the room. And for all intents and purposes, the one on your right is the one with the bioorganic components in it.
All right, then I am just going to do a spellcasting test to see if there's any magical property.
Okay.
24.
Okay. So there is nothing obviously magical about this, but there are components in it that don't register as a baseline. It's weird in some way, but doesn't quite rise to the level of being magical.
Okay. I will keep that to myself.
Okay. Stealth mode.
So there's only the one door. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, everyone else around, I'm going to just help keep watch on the door because that's Mongoose is the door. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, this technology stuff's not my forte. I'm going to stand by the door and keep watch, keep quiet, keep in the shadows.
Okay. Did we cover you, Carbide?
I would like to look at the bioreactor to determine if it is molecular biology, chemical biology. Is it an innovative or cutting-edge technology that I am or am not aware of? So I believe that would be science.
Yes.
Okay, that is.
It is beyond base level human state-of-the-art science.
I turn to the bioreactor and say, it appears we have much in common. We should discuss some things.
Bio air exchanging generator does not seem to be overly talkative.
I frown.
Stealthmode's just shaking his head.
So, not a lot is available other than this knowledge that the machine is not normal, but it's beyond any of your particular expertises as to why and how and what purpose it may.
Real quick, out of character. Did we ever decide who, if anyone, is field leader or anything?
Not it.
Anyone have military? Like, probably looking at Mongoose. I don't know.
If you guys want me to take lead as leader on this, I will. But otherwise, I'd say Ryan or Stealth Mode. Classified doesn't want it.
Not it.
Yeah, I don't think I qualify.
Yeah, your character is kind of an odd one, I think, for this one to be a leader. It'd be funny, though.
Well,
all the orders are in riddles.
Yeah, everything takes 3 hours to figure out.
but like G.I. Joe, the process or the tradition is getting started in this group, that although there may be a specific combat/field leader, each one of you is essentially allowed to take over when you come upon your area of expertise. Even Hawk takes orders from a hand-to-hand combat specialist kind of deal.
Right.
Look at Monk.
I guess for the sake of this, since I'm HRT, I'll take point for now.
I mean, do you want me to stealth ahead? Because that's kind of my thing.
Yeah. I was going to say, why don't I go ahead and pop the door and you take point and stealth, and I say we stack these two guys in the middle and I take tail since I'm a shooter.
Sounds good.
I'll pull drag,
Alright.
make sure cover our ass. The carbide, shoehorn.
Yeah, that works.
Pick your points in the marching order where you want to be.
Right in the middle.
Towards the middle, but I'm going to walk up the wall and on the ceiling.
Okay. That will definitely give us a different vantage point.
All right, I'll take the lead then.
All right.
I appreciate your willingness to embrace the opportunity of assuming a leadership role.
Thank you. Now let's not try to die.
I accept that imperative.
Got my handgun out with a silencer on it.
Okay. Why don't you give me a leading stealth roll?
And real quick, for that Charon's thing, does that give us an upshift of 1, or does it just give you a D2?
It gives you an upshift, which, if you don't have infiltration, gives you a D2.
I do. Okay.
Yeah, just out of character, stealth mode. What's your infiltration?
By itself, it's a D8.
Okay, I'm at a D8 right now, so you're probably 1 point ahead of me with that.
Upshift, yeah, I thought I was asking, gives me a D10 for upshift.
Yeah.
And just so you know, yeah, my alertness is at a D6, but I'm specialized in it, and I can critically succeed with a D2
Oh, nice.
in all alertness.
My alert is at a 6-2, but I am not in any way specialized on it.
I got a 13.
Well, luckily, there aren't very many people around, so that works, at least for this roll. But you don't give any bonuses to any of your compatriots with your expert stealthing. So essentially, you're in the standard 10 by 10 hallway. To the right, it dead ends at basically where the edge of the generator room would be, the air exchanger room. So that stops there about 15 feet down. Going the other way, 15 or 20 feet down, it opens up into a foyer. So there are 2 doors. There's a couple of chairs with a small end table and a couple of magazines on the end table. You're coming in from, let's just call it the west, just for sake of mapping. There's a door in the north wall. There's a door in the south wall. And the waiting chairs are in the middle of the east wall. But other than the chairs, denoting this as some sort of waiting area, this room has no decoration.
Okay.
I find its lack of ostentatiousness disturbing.
You said there was like magazines and stuff on the tables.
Yes.
I want to take a look at them, see what they are.
There is a copy of Red Book from 3 months ago, and there's 2 months worth of Soldier of Fortune magazine, the latest of which was 3 months ago. And there's also it presents itself like a magazine, but it's titled Life with Cobra. And it appears to be like a good housekeeping type magazine, but extolling the virtues of this organization that calls itself Cobra. There's advertisements for uniforms, budgeting tips for how to make the most of your salary, how to not divulge aspects of the group to other people.
Is there only one copy of that, or is it like a manual, or is...
It's presented like it's like the latest copy of Good Housekeeping, up to the point where there's a lady in a flowered sundress, fake laughing with her husband at the breakfast table. They're both holding orange juice.
All right, I'm going to point this out to the guys, and I am going to pocket that and any other copies of it I see, because that sounds like some beachhead would be interested in reading.
Okay, there's only the one copy.
Okay, I'm going to take that copy, and I am going to pocket it.
Okay, Carbide and Shoehorn, what are you guys doing?
Beachhead will be curious about domestic domestics.
So I'm sorry, did you say there's a door out of here? Or is there any doors in this room?
There are 2. There's one in the middle of the north wall. There's one in the middle of the south wall. Both doors look exactly alike. They're kind of steel, non-reflective steel, with a cell window, a barred window in the middle of the upper part of the door. And they have no distinguishing features to say, this way leads to the mess hall and this way leads to the offices. They're just 2 unmarked, suspiciously jail-like doors.
If I look through the north window, do I see anything?
The north, you see, was your youth misspent at all?
Yes.
Okay. So, like all truly gifted people, you raised a little hell when you were younger, and you may have spent a month or perhaps 2 in juvie. This room looks like juvie indoctrination. It has a small stall for a shower. It has a locked, like, medical cabinet and 2 lockers that also appear to be padlocked, and a student-like desk, like a chair with, like, the little writing table kind of built into it with a clipboard on it. And at the north end of that room, there's a hallway that goes off to the east. So to your right as you're looking into the door.
Okay. You want the team to know this looks like some sort of intake for back when juvie, and there's a hallway going to the east. Sneak over, look in the west.
Okay. That looks out into a long, nondescript hallway. It's another 10 by 10. It runs at least parallel to the hallway you're in now, which is weird, an odd design choice, but there it is. And at least from the window, you can't see any other points of interest.
Carbide looks to see if there are any ventilation shafts or any other entrances like that on the ceiling or close to the ceiling, top of the ceiling.
Okay. There are a couple of air vents, but they are not big enough for normal people to get in. There may be a foot long, 8 inches high.
No, I don't think that's practical for him to even attempt. Okay.
I'm going to look over at Mongoose. What do you think? The intake room or the hallway?
Check the intake room and clear it, because we don't know where it goes.
Right.
Let's check it while it's here.
Right. You want to go ahead and try the door?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and open the door to the intake and I'll take point on that since I'm the shooter. I got my rifle up as I open the door and keeping it up and taking aim as I'm coming in real nice and slow.
I'll cover the rear.
Let us collectively minimize our acoustic emissions. Perhaps a firearm is a little more ambient noise than we wish to achieve at this state of auditory tranquility.
Mongoose points to the suppressor at the end of his gun.
Ah.
I'm going to tap the silencer and the silencer at the end of my handgun.
Carbide points to his sword.
Okay, so I open the door. What do I see?
Shoehorn, what are you up to?
I'm getting ready to cast a spell on anything that's on the other side of that door.
Okay. Which leads us back to the fact that it's locked.
So, see, there we go. Hey, I've got an upshift to my burglary for the time being.
Okay. Well, I am going to penalize you 2 downshifts because there is not a standard lock on this door, and you're not 100% sure how you're going to get in.
Well, we'll just see how good I am at being a burglar. That'd be a crit on the 20 and a crit on the 4.
Oh,
For 24.
nice. Well, it appears to be some sort of electromagnetic lock system. So you need probably a rod or, like, not really a key, but some sort of large, bulky metal device that generates electromagnetic frequency that turns the lock off for X amount of time.
Can we see under the door at all?
No, you can only see through the window.
It's the door into the intake room.
Yes, both doors. They look exactly alike.
No, I was telling Shoehorn that this is the one for the interrogation room.
Oh, yeah.
I have a bad feeling about opening this door, though.
I've a bit silly about
Want us to open it?
here.
You know what happened the last time we opened a locked door in one of Eric's games, right? We all got punched in the face by Nana Enforcer.
There's a reason the doors are locked.
Exactly. These doors are not locked for their safety. They are locked for your safety. Yeah. I'm thinking Carbide is our way through this door. There's not a reception desk in here, is there?
There is not.
Okay. Just check it. I was going to say, because, not sure any of it.
There is the locked cabinet and the little student chair, but that's about it.
It's just the one student chair, right?
Correct.
That's in the room, though, that we're trying to get in, not in this waiting room, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Does this appear to be a location of higher learning?
We need you to take your sword, big metal rod, stick it into that lock right there, and make it go bzzz and short the shit out of it so we can open the door.
Yes.
Can you do that?
Like an excellent experiment. I will do that right now. Attack against the door?
I step back out of the way.
So is that an attack against the door or?
No, it's not an attack. I'd say it's probably technology, infiltration, maybe finesse.
Finesse it is.
Okay.
I have specialization in sharp weapons. Does that apply?
Does not apply in this case.
Okay. That is a 27.
Wow. So, yeah, whatever frequency your sword operates on almost exactly matches the frequency of whatever the code for this door is. So as soon as you put any energy into the little slot that you can see, the door pops right open.
Quantum state changed. The experiment was a success.
That's very good.
And in fact, it was such a success that you essentially will have no trouble. So long as your sword is present, you will have no trouble with any further locked doors in this facility.
Very nice.
Way to go, Carbide. Good job.
All right, so you walk into the intake room.
Yes, gun up, pointing, aiming, ready. Do I see anything? Anyone?
No, this room is maybe 12, 13 feet by 12, 13 feet.
Yep.
And the upper right-hand corner of the room from where you came in is a hallway leading deeper into the complex.
All right. Guys, let's check this cabinet, check this desk. I will keep an eye on the hallway leading further in. Someone keep an eye on this door, make sure no one comes up behind us.
I'll keep an eye on the door.
Shoehorn, Carbide.
Yeah, the desk is just one of those seating ones, right? It's not, there's no inside area for them to store their notes.
Correct. Like a second grade desk or something.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like one that, like the top lifted up and there was place for notes and books and stuff.
Nope. It's just the flat, small surface, kind of looks like a paddle, maybe.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Nothing written on it.
Couple little bits of graffiti, but not even like love messages. There's no initials and heart or anything. It's just random designs, guns and punching and ninjas. And
Upon deliberate consideration of this situation, perhaps we could embark on our journey with a little more haste and a little less introspection.
Well, I'd like to know what's in that cabinet real quick before we go. We might need it.
Can I attempt to make an attack on the cabinet to cut it open?
Yep.
All right. Will that require finesse?
it's not against a living target, so you can basically use whatever you want.
Okie doke. Right. That is a crit on the 20 and a 7 on the d8.
Nice.
I love this sword.
Yeah. And you slice the lock perfectly. You don't even touch the cabinet, and it swings open.
Imperative achieved.
Okay.
I kind of wave at the door and let him look.
Yeah. So Mongoose is guarding one door, Stealthmode is guarding the other door, so Carbide and Shoehorn, you're investigating.
I pop open the door of the thing that I just cut open.
I take a look inside.
Okay. Alertness, investigation, something of that nature.
6.
Not quite high enough, I think.
I'm unable to determine if there's a cabinet.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of crap in here. There's some papers and like a first aid kit and some other stuff that's equally uninteresting.
Well, we grab the first aid kit.
Okay. All right. North or south?
We're going to head on and we're going to head north.
Okay.
The hallway I'm guarding.
Yeah. As soon as you get into that hallway, it only goes for 8 or 9 feet and then ends in another door. This door seems to be a little bit more impressive than the other doors. It has a keypad / eye scanner lock on it. Electronic, there is no keyhole, and there's no window.
Well, I think we're going to have to find someone that can open this one for us then, boys.
Can we engage in forceful kinetic interactions?
You go for it, but it's liable to make a lot of noise. We can head back the other way, maybe see if we can find a guard who can open this for us.
Can you use infiltration to open it? Sorry, can I use infiltration to open it?
No.
Yeah, it's like retinal scanner and keypad and like all sorts of stuff that we probably can't break.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's turn around and head back south. We'll know everything behind us up to this door is cleared.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Stealth mode. Give me an alertness check.
Well, I got a 10 with a crit on my D4
There's nothing really to crit. You hear someone coming.
from which way, can I tell?
As you face the door, it comes from the left, which would basically be deeper into the complex.
Someone's coming. Whisper back to the group.
Okay.
I run up to the ceiling.
Do we have an area where we can take cover?
The intake room, basically.
Okay, we'll take
Is
cover in the intake room.
Are there lights in here, or what is this corridor?
Yeah, there's ambient recessed lighting throughout.
Okay.
Harris casts a spell.
I'm going to hide in the top corner of the room to the left of the door. So
Okay.
whichever way the door opens, it would be on the side that it opens to, and
Okay.
up in that corner.
Shoehorn, what spell are you casting?
I'm going to cast Smoke Beam when he's within 60 feet.
Okay.
This will give him the blinded condition if my spellcasting roll beats his toughness. He'll be blind for 3 rounds.
Okay. Are you casting it as soon as he's in range, inside the room? Where do you want to hit him?
Yeah, inside the room so that he doesn't stumble out of the reach of our engagement.
Okay. So make that check.
It is, it's only a 14 against his toughness, or I guess his invasion, if you'd rather. Like that's his call. I don't dictate his defense.
Right. Okay. This guy walks in, and he's dressed in some sort of uniform. It's mostly like a deep blue with some red highlights, and appears to be made out of equal parts cloth and leather. It doesn't seem overly comfortable. He has a red bandana that is not pulled up, and it looks like a variation on a standard kind of army helmet, which he has on, but he also has a beard and a ponytail, and he's missing a tooth, and seems very much, forgive the stereotypes, a hillbilly. In fact, it goes even so far that he's carrying a styrofoam cup, and his cheek is kind of puffed out like he's got some chew in there. But as soon as he comes in, he seems confused and looks around for a second and like up towards the ceiling. And it takes 4 or 5 seconds for like the fear to set in, but it's very clear that he's blind. He drops the cup and chew spit kind of goes all over the floor, and he kind of stumbles to the left towards the vent access hallway. But then he seems to kind of collect himself a little bit. He's not panicked, but he's on the verge of panicking. But instead of going blindly to the left, he stops and turns so that he basically runs into the south wall. So he's slightly to the left of the door, and he's reaching on to his belt for something.
Okay, probably a radio, or like what's his weapon situation?
He has a pistol and a knife, and that's all you can see.
Okay, but nothing drawn?
The pistol is not drawn.
Is the pistol on the side he's reaching for?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think we're really in combat yet, so we won't devolve into initiative. So, Carbide, you're in the most ambushy-like position. Why don't you go first?
I am permission to engage in kinetic interactions.
Engage.
Alrighty then. Let's swing and hit. Now, does my sharp weapons specialization work for this?
Yes.
Excellent. Let me grab the requisite dice.
AKA all of them.
That would be a 23 with a crit on the D4.
Ooh.
Actually, no, that I can count the crit even if I don't use the D4, right? So that is a 24 with a crit on the D4.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, that gets him. How much damage?
1, and I get a second attack.
Doesn't the crit double it? Doesn't that do extra damage?
It does it?
Yeah, crit usually does either one of the alternate effects or the same effects a second time.
Oh, I have an upshift.
Now, Ryan, if you have deadly on that, does that make it like, say it's a 2 with like it's a 1 sharp damage? You have deadly on it, so it's 2. Does that mean that's a 4 or is it a 2?
Yeah, I would say it bumps up to 1.
So it goes to a 3.
I've just got some issues with deadly. I think deadly is underpriced as far as how hard it is to get. So yeah, I think just for balance sake, it should be the base effect again, not
Okay, yeah, that's how I've always played it. Like the deadly doesn't stack; it's the base effect. Deadly doesn't double.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's an 18.
Okay. Also hits it.
So I very acrobatically leap down from the ceiling, slice once down, slice once back up.
Okay. And is it a straight like laser sword? Does it do real damage or like psychic or energy damage or something?
It does. So it is electric. So it does electric damage.
Okay.
So that's just it's a element damage.
Okay. So he spins and falls into the pool of his own spit juice. His uniform will soak most of that up. And he is not unconscious, but he is down. Mongoose.
I want to take aim with my AR. You said he's wearing a military-style helmet, right?
Yep.
And now he's prone on the ground?
Yep.
Can I ricochet around off of it to try to knock him unconscious and not kill him?
Sure.
All right. So I'm aiming. I have a laser sight and +1 with silenced weapons. Question. Since we are inside of a building, does this count as an urban environment?
No.
Okay. Because that depends on my predator stuff with my ranger.
Yeah. And why don't you take, not to ruin all of your advantage, but why don't you take 2 downshifts for the called shot?
No problem. I figured something like that was along the way. That still gives me a nice big because I'm specialized with the AR. So that is going to be a dirty 20.
Nice. Okay. Hits him.
Okay.
And that does enough, both that the bullet doesn't really bounce anywhere except into the ground, so there's no risk of anyone accidentally getting hit, and also knocks him out.
Okay. Sweet. Let's drag this guy's ass back to that lock and see if we can get at least the retinal scan, work.
Okay. He does not have like a blood trail, but there is a small spit chew trail.
Is there a broom or anything?
Yeah, I was going to say, is there towels, any rags or anything anywhere?
There are a couple in the intake room, like towels for the shower for the intake of whomever.
Right, then let me introduce you to the automate spell. An object you target performs the task it was designed for. A broom sweeps, a candle lights, a whisk whisks. So, yeah, I get a cloth, I put it on the ground, and I cast automate so it automatically cleans.
Sweet. Okay. So that takes but a moment, and everyone is back in the intake room with the unconscious guy.
Stealthmode just shakes his head again.
Theme song from Fantasia's in the background as everyone goes into the intake room. All right. So you have the unconscious guy. What are you doing with him?
First off, let's restrain him. That way, if he comes around.
And disarm him.
Disarm him, restrain him.
Okay. In addition to the pistol and the knife, he also has a grenade.
Nice. Now, we have a pistol, a knife, and a grenade. I'll handle these as Shoehorn since probably me and Stealthmode are both already geared out.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm assuming.
I'll be your mule.
Yes, here, carry these. You might need them. Pull this, throw it. Do not hold on to it once you pull the pin. And then I say we drag him down there and see if we can't get the retinal scan to work on this guy.
And while he's doing that, I'm going to keep watch at the other end of the hallway again.
Okay.
Carbide, you want to give me a hand dragging this guy down there?
I acknowledge. I will comply.
Yeah.
So drag this guy down there, pry his eye open, stick it over the retinal scanner, see if it works.
And it works. The door slides open effortlessly. Well, it doesn't slide. It's on a hinge, but it opens effortlessly.
I just drop him. I drop this guy as it comes down, as it opens, and pull up my rifle just to make sure there's nothing in there.
Okay.
His synaptic firing patterns appear to be entirely decreased. I drop on the floor. The dude that we just used to open up the door.
Okay. Ahead of you is the rest of the hallway. It goes down another 15 feet or so
Okay.
before it turns to the right and basically goes south. So towards the hallway that Stealthmode is guarding.
Okay.
But at the end of the hallway where it turns is a table and a single chair. There's a deck of cards on the table, as well as a sports bottle of water, and there's no one sitting at it.
Oh, this is going to be lovely. Unless it's this guy coming back to his post, there's another guard somewhere.
What's the condensation on the bottle look like?
It is visibly sweating.
Are HBTs working for close range comms in here?
They work at a limited range. You haven't tested it at all, but
I'm going to tell Stealth Mode to come on up that we've got the door open.
yeah, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work?
Nope.
Okay.
Whilst that's going on, I'm going to attempt to put a bit of consumable poison into the water.
Okay.
Just knock out
Are you...
a poisoner.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have the skill.
Okay. Make an alertness check.
Oh, I'm good at that. 15.
So you sneak up to drop a couple of drops of whatever poison that you care for into a water bottle, and you happen to look off to your right and see the guard, who is fortunately not paying a lot of attention to you. Down this hallway are cells. They look like regular, jail cells. They're just bars and locked sliding doors. The guard of the 4 jail cells, the guard is at the third one talking.
I'm going to try and leap out of where I can possibly be seen and say, "Hark! Our nemesis approaches."
Okay. Just give me stealth, maybe? Here. Infiltration, 1 downshift.
Infiltration and a downshift. Got it. That'd be a 6.
Okay.
And those next words are...
Yeah, so you jump up to the ceiling and start kind of walking / running, whatever you do when you're upside down, back towards the door that you forced the guard to open. And the act of you jumping to the ceiling catches the attention of the guard. So he spins around, he draws his pistol, and we're going to have to be in initiative. Everyone who's not Carbide is at a downshift because you don't really understand what's going on, at least for this first round.
23 with a crit on the 20.
I rolled with a snack and I still got a 12.
Nice.
I got a 3.
I got a 12 with a crit. If it matters, with a crit on the 8.
Oh, I just realized. So I've got an influence perk. When I roll for initiative, I also roll an alertness skill test to notice any creatures trying to surprise me.
Okay.
So that's a 12 for the alertness skill test.
Okay. Carbide, you're up.
Permission to kinetically interact.
Yeah.
All right. I attempt to kinetically interact with my sword and his face. That is a 17, no crit.
Yeah, how much damage?
1.
Okay.
And I get a second attack.
Go ahead.
Okay. That is a 16 with a crit on the 4.
Yep.
And if the crit does double damage, then that'll be 2 sharp.
Okay. I guess double damage is a little bit of a misnomer. It's damage again.
Reasonable.
Okay. Bad guy go. He draws his pistol and takes a shot at Carbide, since that's the only opponent he's aware of at the moment. And he will roll a 16.
My evasion is 21.
Okay. So, yeah. His instinct is to shoot essentially straight ahead. He angles up, but not in time, or his instinct is a little bit faster than his reflexes. So he shoots below you.
And you see that when I move, my body in this case takes on that sort of liquid mercury kind of movement.
Okay.
And kind of just oozes out of the way of the bullet.
Nice. Okay. Stealth, you and Shoehorn go at the same time. I will give you first go because you got the...
All right. I am going to aim my pistol at him, which is silenced, and take a shot at him. I'm going to aim and then take a shot.
Okay.
For a 12, total 13.
That is not quite enough. So it goes wide. There's a lot of chaos. Shoehorn.
I'm going to get within 60 feet of him and fire a lancing beam.
Okay.
Which is just a regular energy blast attack, just a single target 60 feet away.
You got it.
23 to hit.
That does.
All right, that does 1 energy damage.
Which is enough to take him out.
Oh, nice.
So he has a smoking hole, not a hole, but a scorch mark right where the strange snake-like symbol is on his uniform, and he goes down, twitching, because he was also electrocuted by the sword. All right, you have open access to the prisoner cells.
I'm just going to inspect his body, and I'm going to unmask him and take a good long look at his face.
Okay. He seems normal.
Okay, normal.
Nondescript. Short, but not buzz cut. Brown hair, brown eyes. 5'10", 160, 170 pounds. In decent shape. No facial hair. Looks like maybe his right ear at one time had an earring, but does not now. No significant scars or other telling features that might give you any insight to his character.
And his uniform is all messed up, right?
The symbol on the front of it is messed up, but it looks like the other guy. Kind of the blue leather and cloth.
I'm going to go and strip the other guy.
Okay.
I want to go and check the cells.
Okay.
I also would like to evaluate this microcosm of deprivation and restraint to determine if and are there any prisoners whose existence are unfolding here.
There is one. Hardman is in cell number 3.
Yay. 1 down.
All right. Can we get that cell door open?
Another application of kinetic energy?
Very possible. Let's look and see if there's an easier way to get it open. Does the guard have any keys to open the cell doors?
He does.
Okay. Let's take the keys and use those.
Oh, moderately disappointing.
And just for the record, stealth mode's still keeping watch
Okay.
down the corridor.
Hardman plays it cool. Doesn't really react when you guys show up and open the door, but he seems fully conscious and capable.
Ask him, Hardman, do you know where the others are? We're here to get you guys out. Name's Mongoose.
He tells you that he hasn't seen Classified since they were captured 6 days ago. Scaffold and Reaper were stored in here at one point, but he hasn't seen them in like 2 days.
Okay. Do you know what direction they took Scaffold and Reaper when they left with them? Do you happen to recall?
There's only one direction you can go from here, and that's back the way you came.
Okay, that's our only job. Okay. Well, with this, let's what condition is Hardman in?
He could use a good meal and probably a good night's sleep, but appears to be at least moderately healthy.
Okay, so Shoehorn, give Hardman that knife, that gun, and that grenade. This will give him some weapons to defend himself with.
All right, Shoehorn leaves the half-naked soldier that he was stripping and arms Hardman.
Okay.
He goes back to what he was doing.
Hardman, if we get you to an exfil point, can you get out and get to safety? Or do we need to keep him with us?
Well, that depends on Hardman. So, Aaron, I will give you the choice now to remain with stealth mode, or you can switch back to Hardman.
I'm going to remain stealth mode for now.
Okay. So I will keep Hardman as an NPC, and he wants nothing to do with escaping. He has friends in here.
Alrighty. Well, let's do this then. Does he have his clothing, any of his, uniform, any of that, or?
He's dressed in his boxer shorts.
Sweet. We might want to let him wear that guard's clothes.
He is twice the size of any guard you've seen so far.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Well, Hardman, I guess it's in the boxers you go, buddy.
So I turn to Hardman and say, please partake of this sustenance, and give him some completely flavorless, liquidized protein sort of liquid.
Heal or do anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Just a liquid meal.
Yeah, okay. Well, he downs it, expecting to feel refreshed or something, because Carbide's a little weird, and he does a couple of side glances out of the side while he's kind of giving his brief report, and he also kind of takes a second look at Shoehorn, but he's seen enough weird shit that this might be top 10 material, but it's like 9 or 10, let's be real.
And Carbide, you might want to tell him not to drink that energy drink that was on the table, or the sports drink.
Well, that would be an interesting experiment. It is not advisable for you to pick up any beverages that you might see at this time, as they may have been inadvertently rendered toxic.
By some definitions of inadvertent.
Yeah. He poisoned the water bottle. Am I translating that correctly?
Yes. He poisoned the water bottle.
Okay.
Exactly.
Check.
Mongoose reaches into his pack and pulls out a sealed water bottle and gives him one. Gives Hardman one. Says, here, this one's sealed.
Okay.
Shoehorn is going to cast a spell called Get to Know. He's going to cast it on the dead guard. And I learn enough about the target to gain an edge on a skill test related to impersonating them.
Okay.
I call upon whispered rumors, newspaper headlines, any other information out there. It's all just like magically filtered into my brain. And then I put him in one cell. Are there any cells that are facing each other?
No.
Oh, all right. I was going to have the two guards facing each other as a reminder to the living guard of what could happen to him if he gives us away. All right. If we have a minute, I'm going to change into the guard uniform. I'm going to keep it under my cloak so that it's not always obvious.
Okay. And your butterfly wings won't present any difficulty?
Oh, yeah. The butterfly wings will totally give... Well, hold on. Because I've got a spell called Pony Morph, which lets me change shape, and I've also got a general perk that lets me, when I change shape, instead of just becoming like a generic sample of a human, I could actually specifically take on the face of an individual that I've seen. So I imagine when I cast Pony Morph, part of the disguise would also hide my wings.
Okay. And are you making yourself look like the guard?
Not yet, but
Okay.
if it seems like I need to, then I will. It's another spell that really takes a lot out of my spell casting and only lasts a scene.
Okay.
What method did you accomplish that?
Magic.
These guys wear face masks like I do, don't they?
Yeah, they have bandanas, basically, yeah.
Yeah, because I've got that kind of like that spandex face mask that comes across my face that I wear in combat. I'm gonna grab the helmet off of one of these guys,
Okay.
and I'm gonna pop that on because that glance, even though my uniform's not the same, the silhouette will look similar.
Okay.
And I point to the other guy. Don't shoot me just because I look like one of them.
Disguises have double edges.
Okay.
I will endeavor not to shoot you, but then I don't generally use a firearm.
That's probably for the best, Carbide.
Okay. Back to this is pretty much all the information you're going to get out of the cells.
Mm-hmm.
So you're back to stealth mode in the hallway.
Yep, I say we go all the way back to that south door and get ready to roll stealth mode with my new little disguise. You want me to take point?
Sure.
All right.
Not gonna keep you back.
Okay. I will go ahead and take point, but I will attempt to still move quietly and stealthily.
My disguise is better. Should I take the lead?
You definitely can take point, and I will stay right there by you.
Okay, so then I am going to cast Ponymorph, and I will take the shape of the guard that we killed.
Okay.
Even though I'm wearing the uniform of the other guard, so that it's intact, so hopefully it doesn't have some kind of like rank insignia to give me away. I hope not, but that's just laying it out there that that's something we could do.
Yep.
And yeah, I go and I take the lead.
Okay. Why don't you make some sort of alertness check for me?
Alertness, all right. Let me know if you also want a deception test for how well I'm disguised.
Yeah, if you'd like to roll a deception test, you may.
Okay, so for the alertness, I got an 18.
Okay.
For deception, I get an edge because of all my, taking other people's faces related bonuses.
Okay.
Oh, natural 20. Only a 22 total, though.
Nice. Okay. You are firmly in the character of the strange trooper, and you go to the end of the hallway and just kind of randomly turn left or right.
So there's, like it forks, I can go left or right?
Yes.
I'll turn right.
Okay. So you turn right, and you are immediately shot twice.
Ah!
Take 2 points of damage.
Damn, a lot of damage. Oh, I was shot by one of us, wasn't I? Was I shot by scaffold? Did I shoot myself?
Yes.
I know it. Exactly the kind of thing scaffold would do.
Yeah. You take a couple of shots, and you kind of fall back into the long end of the T juncture.
Yep.
Everyone is close enough to him. You understand and know what is going on. So let's roll for initiative and see if we can make the drama of the situation even worse.
13.
Okay.
So I get a bonus if I'm last in initiative order. So that's why I didn't even put any ranks in initiative. And I've been rolling great with my snag.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
22.
10.
And stealth.
11.
Sorry, no, wait, that was a D2, not a D4. So that is 8.
8. All right. Fortunately, the bad guys, the unnamed, unseeable bad guys, only got a 6. So, Mongoose, feel free to kill everybody.
I'm flipping that damn helmet off and popping around the corner.
Okay.
All right. I pop around the corner. Who do I see? What do I see?
You see 2 armed combatants who just shot your friend.
Okay.
Acquaintance.
Do they look like the guys we were sent here after? Because remember, I'm HRT. This is something I'm used to.
You would ask questions. No. In fact, they're both naked except for boxers and pistols.
Well, okay, naked and boxers and pistols? That makes me think these guys are hostages. Okay. I am going to... How far away is Shoehorn from me?
10 feet.
All right. I want to grab a hold of Shoehorn. I'm going to pull Shoehorn back. And if one of these guys pops around off at me, I'm shooting him.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what you do. Shoehorn.
I am bleeding, and I don't think I have any healing spells.
Yeah, so I don't have a way to heal Shoehorn, but I don't want him sitting out there where he can get shot more.
Yeah. So, am I within 30 feet?
Yes.
All right, then I can blind one of the guys that's shooting at us to get... Oh, no, sorry, 60 feet even.
Yep.
All right, so how long has it been since I cast Ponymorph?
Less than a minute.
Less than a minute. All right, so the thing is that I get a number of downshifts to my spellcasting, and they only recover once per round. Ponymorph was downshift 4. Are you okay saying I'm still at downshift 2 from when I cast it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. So I'm going to cast my spoke beam at the nearest target's eyes. Oh, no, that's very bad. 5. and I rolled specialized.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that is one of the worst rolls I've ever seen.
Okay.
3, 2, 2, 1.
So you lift your arm and go through your spell casting motions, and you took enough damage in exactly the right spot that it immediately breaks your concentration.
That makes sense.
Stealth.
So we still don't know who these people are yet.
Nope. All you saw was Shoehorn get shot twice.
Aaron's pretty sure who they are, but can I roll an alertness or something and make an educated guess on who they might be, seeing how they're in boxers and shooting at someone look like an enemy? Or
Well, you haven't actually seen them yet.
okay.
They're still around the corner.
Then I am going to do what I do, and I am going to sneak over and take a shot. Yeah, I will aim my gun and shoot the closest one.
Okay.
Or I got 5.
5. Nope. Okay. Carbide.
Attempt to apply some kinetic force to the reason of this situation. And let me do that. All right. So that is a 19 with a crit on the D4.
Okay. That hits. Make an alertness check.
Okay. Here. That is a 21.
Your debriefs on the identity of the Joes that you're rescuing have registered. You are looking at Scaffold and Reaper, and they look like hell.
I look at them with curiosity and I say, Beachhead sends his salutations.
Okay. They still have their pistols aimed at you because, you're a little weird looking.
This, does not faze me at all. I'm typically have guns pointed at me at all times.
All right. And their turn. So one of them shouts the standard passphrase.
This is the Viper.
You don't need to roll. Everyone knows the appropriate response. Someone, probably Carbide, gives the response.
I be there noon today. Be ready.
And they lower their pistols. So they are both dressed in their boxers. This is Scaffold and Reaper. Scaffold has had the holy hell beaten out of him. His face is almost swollen, completely shut. He's coughing, have a little trouble breathing, and can kind of sort of see out of his right eye, which is what he aimed the pistol with. But even he is doing a little bit better than Reaper, who appears to have a broken ankle and various cuts and slices, and he's missing 2 fingernails on his left hand. So they have both been tortured to a certain extent.
All right, Mongoose walks up, says, "Good to see you guys. Hate to ask, but Reaper, I know you're a medic. Can you patch him up? And then we need to get you guys out of here
Shoehorn pulls out a first aid kit.
because we have to go find Classified. Have you guys seen Classified?"
No. He got separated almost immediately from when we got here. We haven't seen him in 5 days.
All right. So we need to find Classified. Hardman, I think you guys need to get Reaper and Scaffold out of here. These injuries are probably going to make it hard for you guys to keep up with us moving. But we need to get Shoehorn patched up.
Yeah. And although they were doing fairly well so far, they reluctantly agree Reaper can patch up Shoehorn, and you can have, he's wounded. Let's give you 1 hit point back for 1 health with the first aid kit, which he doesn't give back. He's going to keep that and tend to he and Scaffold's wounds as soon as they're out. The only issue is getting out, at least the way he came back, involves like a 60-foot climb. And as tough as they are and as badass as they're being, probably can't handle that.
Can I assist them in their vertical challenge?
Anyone object?
Excel at climbing.
I have no problems with that.
Scaffold would let out just a deep sigh.
We need to get these guys somewhere safe where they can be, potentially not, targets. Hate to say it, guys. I know you're badass, but we came here to rescue you.
Okay.
I imagine Reaper's probably giving Mongoose every kind of dirty look in the world right now.
Yeah. Well, he can recognize the situation. They were only being badass because they had to, and now there's 4 more of you. So he's good with that. So Carbide will be out temporarily while he works on getting them up the 60-foot shaft and back into the small grouping of trees.
Okay.
Let me know if and when I have to roll anything for that.
Yep. All right. Meanwhile, let's do They were just to the south. So
Yeah, you turned to the right and took a shot right in the chest as soon as you turned that corner.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And there was no silencer or anything on the weapons they fired, right?
That is correct.
Can I make an alertness skill test to see if I hear anyone coming?
Okay.
Or like any sign that someone's been alerted? All right, so that's only a 10 for my alertness.
There is no obvious klaxon or visible alarm. There aren't red lights spinning or anything like that. Doesn't mean there aren't electronic or other alerts happening. You just aren't privy to any of them.
I want to get back up to that T intersection and just kind of peek my head out and look both ways to see if I see anything.
You guys were basically there.
Okay.
Shoehorn was out in front of you, but only by a couple of feet.
Well, okay, I wasn't sure because I said I pulled him back into that hallway, so I wasn't sure if we was back out there yet or not. I just wanted to make sure there was no one coming down that hallway.
No, it appears to be empty, at least so far.
Okay. What does that room to the north appear to be? It looks like it's got a door from one hall and this hall.
Unknown. All of the doors so far that you've passed are some sort of variation on the cell door or into the room with the barred window, or the prison door, which has no window and it has the heftier electronic countermeasures.
Which we have to wait for. We have to wait for Carbide for any of that because he was the one breaking into those.
These are all solid doors. There's no windows in them like they were previously.
The two that appear to connect to the one big room are both the heavier doors, yes.
And what about the one across from in the hall?
That one is a cell door.
So can we see inside of it?
Yep.
What's inside?
That's a good question.
You win. Classified.
Don't we have the keys from the guard to get in these doors, maybe?
Yes. You have the electronic stick that will get you into presumably most of the lighter doors, but the heavy ones have the retinal scanner.
Do I need to go cut the head off of that guard and carry it around?
How close is your face, Shoehorn?
Yeah, can you pass a retinal scanner with your disguise?
Let me guess, the My Little Pony magic system has a spell specifically for that.
Brian wrote it.
Wouldn't surprise me. Like everything taken into account.
Oh, sorry. What did I write?
We was asking if your spell your disguise would allow you to fool a retinal scanner.
I probably would. Let me just read it over. So, spell turns the target within range into an identical copy of another creature of their size. They look, sound, and smell exactly like the original. So they gain an edge on deception, infiltration, skill test. Passes the creature they look like, or to not be identified for who they are. So yeah, that sounds like.
Sounds like it.
Sounds to me like I would pass a retinal scan.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I told you, Ryan wrote this.
Man, those ponies can do anything. I should have paid more attention to that cartoon as a kid.
Yeah, really.
Well, this is based on the more recent one.
Oh.
I should have paid attention when my kid watched it.
There you go. Should have taken the time to watch it yourself.
So let's test it. Give me a finesse or a. I don't know. What do you think that would apply to?
Deception.
Infiltration.
Okay.
Or deception. Yeah, I could do either one. Either way, it's the same D6. So whatever I'm doing.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to use a story point because I rolled a 2 and a 1.
Very good.
Why don't I get that when I need initiative?
Yeah, really.
Oh, there we go. So 18 plus 1 makes a 19.
Okay. So, yep, works perfectly. It takes quarter of a second longer than the prison door did. So you have just enough time to think, did this work? And as soon as that thought forms, the light turns green and the door opens.
Dramatic pause. Which door is that he's opening?
The south door.
Okay.
And it's a clean room with an operating table on it. It has seen no action recently, still smells of bleach and disinfectant.
Medical supplies in here?
Surgery supplies, nothing you could really make a first aid kit out of.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was something like Reaper could use for, a splint or cast.
You could probably jury rig a splint, but there's no plaster here for cast. There's some suture stuff, but there's no anesthetic here or disinfectant because, if you're in this room, they're not real worried about how you're getting out.
Right.
Also, isn't Reaper gone?
Well, they weren't that very far from us, so I was assuming that they weren't that
And we
far.
clearly weren't going very fast.
Yeah, there was some limping going on, but...
Okay, no, we won't worry about it. They're already up out of the tunnel. I'm assuming.
Ish.
Yeah.
We'll come back at a dramatically appropriate time.
Right. Of course. Da, da, da. Okay, can we go to the room to the north?
Sure.
Since that one doesn't seem to have anything in there that we're really interested in.
Okay. But you do notice the dimensions of this, like, impromptu surgery room do not include the other door in that hallway. There's the door just below the X where Scaffold and Reaper were.
Well, they said they hadn't seen Classified, so I'm assuming Classified's not in there. But we'll check it. Because it looks like to the north we dead end.
Yes.
So I want to clear those 2 rooms before we start working our way south. That way we have everything to our back cleared out.
That's my thought.
Okay.
So can we go through the door directly across from the one we just opened into the surgical room?
Okay. This is a heavy door. So Shoehorn uses the retinal scanner and he can make it through.
Okay.
Once you open the door, you're immediately assailed by the smell of ozone, and there are lots of flashing lights and energy discharges happening in this room.
Carbide, can you get a look in there better than us?
He's not back yet.
Oh, I thought he was back already.
Nope.
Like, energy discharges how? Like sparks going off? Like laser fire?
It's not laser fire, or at least it doesn't sound like laser fire. It sounds more like the snap pop of an energy discharge, but it's hard to tell because you started opening the door up just enough, but as soon as you kind of got the smell and the flashing lights, you stopped.
Shoehorn, can you get a better peek in there with any of your abilities?
I will use True Sight, and that'll let me see any invisible things. It lets me see through magical hiding and shape-shifting, and I may also see the true nature of things. Does any of that apply to the situation?
Yes.
Oh, what?
Do you have to make some sort of alertness test?
Yeah, you're right. I should make my spellcasting skill test.
Yeah.
All right, so that is 17, so that'll pass. It is a superior spell, so I believe that's a... Okay, so it's a 15, so I got a 17, so I'm good there.
Okay.
And yeah, so I would still need to make an alertness skill test to see what I'm seeing.
Okay.
It'll give me additional information based on seeing through disguises and whatnot.
Gotcha.
19.
All right, perfect. Okay, so this room powers the room next to it.
Oh, okay.
And there is a magical component to the energy being discharged in this room, but the room itself is not magical.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to make a spellcasting skill test just to learn in what way it is magical. This is just like a knowledge spellcasting roll.
Okay.
And I got a 16.
Okay. So the magic in this room is intensifying, is the only word that you can come up with. The other energies in the room.
Okay. Magic, but not pure magic. Part magic.
Great.
The magic doing.
Intensifying the energy.
Again, Stealthmode shakes his head.
Can any way to shut that down? Turn it off?
Do I know of any way to shut the spell off? I don't have any kind of dispel magic. Oh wait, there are some base dispel rules.
I'm not going to say there's not a point. You can lessen the intensity of whatever's going on by casting your dispel magic, but it won't stop anything.
Okay. All right. Well, there's one more room this way up this hallway. Should we see what's in there? All right. So let's move up to it.
Or shit, we don't check it out. It's either going to have Classified in there or a room full of bad guys come and shoot us in the back.
Yeah, it's going to be like 20 Decepticons that come out and jump us on the back.
Yeah, sorry. How big was the room that we were just in, the energy room?
It's about 15 feet north to south and about 20-ish feet east to west.
Okay.
So knowing, just of the space that we've got left on this map,
yep,
it takes up about half of it, or it takes up less than half?
About half.
Okay. All right, yeah. Head to the other door that leads into that space.
What's this door look like? Big mega door as well?
Yes, it is.
All right. Shoehorn, this is all you again.
All right. This all still counts as the same scene, or should I re-up my polymorph?
It's the same scene.
Okay. All right. Retinal scan again.
Okay. You don't have to roll. We've determined that it works. It's fine.
Okay.
So there is less flashing lights and ozone in this room, but you do hear the hum of several types of machinery. There are 3, we'll call them people, standing here in lab coats. Underneath the lab coats are decidedly not human shapes. There's a snake guy a crab guy and a guy that's like 9 feet tall. And on the other side of them, suspended from the ceiling by no visible means other than the 1,000 metric tons of fiber optic cable, is classified.
High up we talking about?
The ceiling is about 14 feet high, so he's hovering about halfway. So he is 7 feet off the ground.
Is he conscious?
No. And for what? Well, actually, no. You guys have never seen him before. There's no others of the original group here, so I cannot make that observation. So he is completely naked. Skin is pale and maybe just on the edge of being sickly. And there are an equal amount of like the fiber optic cables of things going into him and things coming out of him. Although it all appears to be various forms of light. So like none of the cables that you can see are drawing blood or viscera or, any other bodily fluid, bile or anything. And the stuff that's going in is just, it looks like flashes of light going down the tube, and then they end where the tube connects to his body.
Any sign of Carbide?
Not yet.
You've never seen them both in the same room at the same time.
Hey.
Okay. So call this a neutral facing. So let's all roll for initiative. And there's still the option to not engage. You can speak. We're going to do this in a very specific order because things are tense.
So I got an 11 for my initiative.
Okay. Stealth.
Stealthmode got a 15.
Okay.
I do look like one of the Cobra soldiers. Are they reacting to me at all? Like, is it unusual for him to come in this room?
They haven't yet.
Okay.
It's hard to tell if they're playing not aware of you or are aware of you enough to not be concerned.
Okay.
Carbide, why don't you give me a roll for when you do reappear?
Just a regular initiative?
Yeah.
That is going to be a 22. This die is rolling hot tonight.
I guess.
Sorry, a nat 20.
Okay.
Crit on the 20.
Cool. So we'll just plug Mongoose in whenever he comes back. Stealth, you go first.
So there's how many potential enemy combatants in this room?
3.
3. I am going to take aim with my handgun and shoot the closest.
Well, they're all fairly equidistant.
Is anyone armed?
There's snake guy, crab guy, giant guy.
Giant guy.
Okay.
I am back and rolling for initiative now, guys.
Okay.
I got a 9.
9. All right. Stealth, what'd you get?
I got a 6, and it doesn't matter, but I critted on the.
Yep. Okay. So the giant guy appears to be at least somewhat aware of the situation, and he actually ducks and twists, and your bullet goes high. And now it's their turn to act. So giant guy turns around, and you get a good look at his face, and it appears to be made out of metal.
He's 9 feet tall, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Stealthmode once again shakes his head.
And he is going to do 1 point of damage to stealth. We're going to have to revise the description of giant guy a little bit, because when he turns around, he's hunched and was not quite standing to his full height. And the fact that his knees were bent were kind of blocked by his trench coat. So he's wearing like a doctor's lab coat, only built for actually a 12-foot guy, made completely out of metal. Looks vaguely like his chest is half cockpit. He turns around and just backhand stealth. His fingers graze your shoulder, and you go spinning around, 1 point of damage. And crab guy and snake guy both turn around. Crab guy charges towards classified, and snake guy actually kind of flicks his hands out, and these two 2-foot-long curved blades come out the back of his forearm, down his palm or down the back of his hand, but it comes out, the claw basically comes out of his wrist and not the back of his hand.
When you say the snake guy charges towards classified, he's going up the wall?
Crab guy.
Oh, crab guy. Sorry, crab guy's doing it. Okay.
And he appears to be tall enough to reach up with his claws and interact with classified. You don't know if he's going to kill him or cut him down or move him or maybe hit the emergency poison this guy switch. You have no idea. But he can reach classified to interact with him.
Okay.
And snake guy pops his claws and tries to be intimidating. Does anyone fail a 13 on your willpower?
Nope.
14. That was close.
My willpower is a 13.
Okay. Well, that does technically hit. So if you attack Snake Guy this round, you're to downshift.
Okay.
Am I in the room yet? Could I take that?
You will be shortly. I have a dramatic reveal going.
Oh, okay. Please go ahead.
So after bad guys go is Shoehorn.
All right, I am going to try and blind the crab guy.
Okay.
Which, like, I don't know if I get any kind of penalty because do crabs have multiple eyes? Do they have compound eyes?
You know, that's a good question. Why don't we give you a downshift just for the uncertainty?
Okay.
They're at least on an eye stalk and a little more squirrely than regular people eye.
All right, so that is only a 14 to hit.
Yeah, that is not quite enough.
All right.
Free actions or anything?
Let me double check, but I don't think I have anything that applies right now. No, I'm going to say no.
Okay. Mongoose.
All right, I'm going to take aim at Crab Guy. I'm going to shoot him.
Okay.
And that is going to be a 13. Crit on the 4.
Nope, not quite.
Sorry, Classified, you're dying.
Classified can't really die. He'd just be taken over by somebody else. It's a mantle, not a person.
Okay, Batman.
Okay. Carbide, you can go.
I am going to jump into the room and assess the situation. Maybe an alertness check?
Yes, please.
Okay, that gives us a 18 with a crit on the 6.
Give me a brief description of your experience. Would you know a transformer if you saw one?
I would not.
Okay.
The technologies that I have been advanced to, I do not understand, and thus have not had any Cybertronian tech experience, though there might be some in me I wouldn't know.
Okay. Fair enough. Do you have any free actions, move actions?
So I'm going to probably jump to the ceiling and charge towards the tall one because I can engage him upside down from the ceiling.
All right. Stealth, you're up.
Okay. So there's crab guy, there's big guy.
And Snake Guy.
I'm going to take a shot at snake guy.
Okay.
Aim, upshift on that. Ooh, better. 18.
That hits.
Okay. Once per turn, using a silent weapon, which is like silenced pistol, and I have an ally at 20 feet, I get to do an additional 2 damage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's total 3 damage.
Yeah, that takes a chunk out of him.
I'm going to take him as a free action, as a once per turn, as a free action. I can either sprint or hide, so I'm going to hide.
Okay. All right. So bad guys go. Crab Guy is starting to cut the fiber optic cable that Classified is suspended by. And Classified starts shaking like this is a bad thing. Snake Guy charges forward and randomly picks Stealth to attack. Because you shot his buddy. And got a 14. Does that hit you at all?
Since I'm hiding, does that give me a bonus? Or
Oh, yeah, you're hit. I'm sorry. Well, okay. So does 14 hit you, Mongoose?
Nope.
Okay. Easy enough. All right. So that Snake Guy, he charges forward. Backhand slash, forward slash. You manage to dodge or deflect out of the way. And then Giant Robot Guy. Oof. 1. Apparently does not like being magicked. 17 hit you, Shoehorn?
No, just misses.
Oh, okay. So you duck underneath it, and his fist goes into the wall and dents. Okay, Shoehorn.
All right, so I'm going to use a couple of my things here.
Uh-huh.
First of all, I'm going to use a talent for magic. It lets me cast, or it lets me do something related to magic as like one action type easier. So I'm going to cast the blinding ray as a move action.
Okay.
The smoke beam, I should say. So by now I'm downshifted quite a bit. I'm down to a D6 and a D4. Yeah, no. So I rolled a 3 on the D20. I'm going to spend a story point to reroll that.
Okay.
17
Nice.
with the smoke beam.
Okay. And who are we aiming at again?
Oh, the crab guy.
Okay. All right. That seems to hit him. Little smoke clouds emerging from his eyeballs.
So now I'm going to use one of my mystical points.
Okay.
To refocus, which returns my spellcasting back to its full rank.
Okay.
And I'm going to cast again. This time I'm going to cast a lancing beam to deal damage to my blinded target.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that one's downshift 2, so I'm down to a D8 on down. So that's 16 and potential crit.
Yes to both.
Okay, great. So then that is 2 energy damage to the crab guy.
Okay. As most of you are familiar with, I'm sure, crabs work on a hydraulic system because they're mostly liquid inside. and you've cracked the shell and splattered liquid crab hydraulic guts all over everybody.
Like, how much? Like, what percentage of his guts have I spilled? Like, I didn't kill him, right?
You're hardly a giant crab expert, but 60 to 70%, yeah, he's super dead.
Nice.
There's your next specialization.
Mongoose.
I'm going to take aim at this snake.
Okay.
So, because I was going to go after the crab, but the crab just got splattered. So, I'm going to take aim down at this snake. Laser sight, silenced, aimed. Because I get bonuses with silenced weapons as a predator.
Okay.
And that is going to be a 22.
Got him.
And that will do 2 points of damage.
Okay. All right. Back to the top of the round. Carbide.
I shout, "See, this electro scored! Guided by algorithms! I will, ablaze with ionized particles, I will sever your bolts, rivets, and connectors, robot!" And charge in and attack with my sharp laser swordy thing. Okay, that one, not the best. 17.
Yeah, that hits.
So for 1, it is electric, if that matters.
It's not do anything to this particular one.
Okay, and second attack, a nat 20 on the d20. I'm beginning to love this die. A crit on the 8, so a double crit for 28.
Yeah, that hits a lot. And does 2 damage?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Stealth.
Okay, and I was just reading up on hide, and the way it works is I make a infiltration skill test, and that's the number that whoever's trying to see if they can see me would have to beat on their alertness. That's the
Okay.
difficulty.
What is that number?
23
Jeez. Okay.
to see me. And then for my turn, I am going to take just another shot at Snake Guy.
Okay.
Since I'm doing it from hiding, on page 203, it talks about that. I get an edge
Okay.
roll. Oh, Jesus Christ. Double sixes. 7.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I got an edge, and both 20s roll a 6.
Isn't that always the way? Okay. Big metal guy puts his hands up and says, "I have no desire for further conflict with you." The snake guy has other feelings and gets a 23 on Carbide. No crits, just a 23, so a solid 1 damage to your face. Yeah, okay. I'm done. Shoehorn.
All right, so I'm going to trust the giant robot. I am going to take aim at the snake, and I will use the smoke beam.
Okay.
That's my d6. 16 with a potential crit.
Okay. Yeah, 16 is exactly what you needed. So yeah, crit away.
I don't know. I guess it doesn't really have a crit effect unless you want to increase the duration because it's blindness. You can't be extra blind.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Maybe you should get some sort of award or something. So we'll figure something out.
Okay, well, it's usually 3 rounds. I don't know if you want to give me a 4th round.
Sure.
Okay, so you consider all movement rough terrain. You suffer a snag on all attacks. And if you are unaware of your attackers, any attack against you gains an edge.
Easy enough. All right. Mongoose.
I'm going to attack this guy. I'm pretty sure he's aware I'm there, though.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I am going to spend a story point and re-roll that one.
This is your last one, gentlemen.
Thanks for keeping track of that.
Ah, son of a bitch is 1 again. A total of a 7.
Not quite.
What a waste of a story point.
Okay, back to the top. Carbide.
So I'm going to, hopefully as a free action, but I want to try and read the room as to whether or not we're still attacking the big robot or not. I'm inclined to do so, but I thought maybe I can do an alertness check to see whether or not everyone else has stopped doing it.
Sure.
Yeah, so I got an 8 on that. So I'm thinking maybe I just keep attacking the robot.
Okay.
So yeah, going at it with the E-Claymore.
All right.
I will salvage your circuits. And that is that's a 7. Cool. 18
Yeah, that gets him.
for 1.
Okay.
And that's a 19. So the next one's going to be with good. There we go. So that would be a 25 with a crit on the 6.
Okay. Dead giant robot.
Boing.
Guess maybe the lightning was doing more internal damage than you thought.
Your tantalum capacitors and gold-plated connectors yield to my calculated precision.
Stealth.
Once again, I'm going to take aim at Snake Guy.
Okay.
And a 16.
Yes,
And I'm assuming I have an ally within 20 feet.
very much so, yes.
So it gets an additional 2 points of damage. So it's 3 damage.
Dead snake guy. Okay, that was quick. All right, so need some sort of science roll to unhook Classified without hurting him more.
Anyone else more competent than I am at science with my D2?
Better than me.
You might be your science guru.
Okay.
I'm sneaky, not sciencey.
We're gonna put the fate of your character in your hands.
Okay. See how this turns out. No story points, huh? No.
Nope.
I got I got a 20 total, an 18 and a 2.
Okay.
Sorry, an 18 and a 1. Sorry, so that's 19.
That's enough. Once you have a hold of the fiber optic cable, it's most of it, like, he's got 200 wires attached to him, and probably 100, 125 are some sort of bioorganic wire, and they're attached to him by like kind of a lamprey's kind of barbed sucker instead of like a needle or some sort of connector. So those bleed a little when they're taken off. But the other the actual fiber optic cable, you're not sure exactly what it was doing because it was connected at all over seemingly random points on his body. It was basically connected by tape.
So this is a little bit similar to how Carbide was constructed. So is this likely to be something that he would recognize, or is it so far off of what even unethical scientists would do that it's not?
It's in the same vein, but it's not the same.
We need an orchestration of rhythms and algorithms and actuators. We must dismantle these complex structures. He is suffering badly. I felt this myself.
I know they were using magic to enhance it. Can I make another spellcasting skill test to see if I can magically dispel any magic to help with this situation?
Yes.
Okay. So this first is the knowledge roll to see if there's anything I can.
Okay.
That is a 27.
Okay. You can lessen the intensity as all these wires apparently originate from the power room next door. And for some reason, or maybe because it's simply weird enough, you're 90% sure your spells will affect the bioorganic components here.
My spells will, but what about dispelling it?
You can negate damage that he would take by taking the bioorganic wires off of him, but you don't know what's being done to him and you can't stop that.
Okay. Too bad we sent Reaper away. He probably would have a better idea of what's going on.
Am I continuing to remove wires and things?
Yes.
Okay.
Is he waking up at all, coming around, stirring?
Yes.
I want to get to where he can see me, and I'm going to pull my face mask down and start talking to him. Let him know, classified. My name is Mongoose. Beachhead has sent me here to get you.
Okay, he's not quite coherent enough to be able to give you a focused response, but getting in his face and talking to him gives him something to kind of focus on, and you can see him trying, his eyes becoming uncrossed so he can look at you.
Yeah, I'm going to keep trying to...
His synaptic resonance patterns are modulating, and they're encoding the sentiments through his neural axons again. Keep going.
I'm just going to stay up in his face going, classified, we've got the rest of your team. You're the last one we've got to get out of here. Come on, buddy, let's go.
He mumbles something. Sounds like data point, something in that vein, although it's weak and faint.
What data? You need us to get some data out of here for you? What do you need us to get for you, buddy?
Is there a bureaucracy roll? What?
There's a persuasion, performance. I think bureaucracy falls under persuasion. I've got streetwise is all I've got under social.
I'll take that. Streetwise, culture.
Okay. Streetwise is what I got.
Yeah.
It's a 15. I critted on the D4.
Okay. From your briefing, data point is some sort of mechanical companion?
His droid.
Oh, yeah, of course.
His drone. Your robot. You need your robot.
More than a robot. Data point. Find data point.
Shoehorn,
Yes.
stealth mode. Do you see data point anywhere?
I'm gonna look around. Would I see anything that would resemble what we know of data point?
There is a table near you, Stealth, one that you were actually hiding behind for a lot of this, that has a pile of random computer components and gears on it.
Oh no! Data point.
This may be him.
Would they have disassembled him?
Unknown. There are no drones present, only this pile of components.
There's no casing or anything.
No.
See? Okay.
I'm gonna cast ESP, and I'm gonna send my extrasensory projection into the other room with all the energy.
Okay.
And I'm going to walk around there and see if I can find any parts of a drone.
Okay.
Do you want an alertness test or anything?
Yeah, I thought you were rolling. I'm sorry.
That's right. That's only a 9.
Well, you see the casing
Oh, okay.
and what is probably his CPU hooked up to another bioorganic kind of wiring system in the power room.
Okay. I let them know. I found some of it. I found his soul. It's in the power.
Okay. So he is still essentially not coherent and will have to be dragged out. You can salvage most of the parts of data point, but it's well beyond your ability to repair.
Okay, no problem. What about getting the CPU and the casing from the other room? Is that going to be possible?
Yes, it's possible, but in unhooking it, you can tell that it's practically burnt out.
Yeah, but I have a feeling Classified would be pissed as shit if we leave this here.
No man left behind.
Right, it's part of the team.
Okay, so
Oh, scaffold's drone.
you don't know.
Oh, there's. I threw one there for you.
But
Yeah.
Scaffold's drone is not also semi-sentient,
Okay,
and there's some other factors going in there.
okay, gotcha.
So you, between the 4 of you, you get Classified up the 2, which is really a pain. So you don't envy Carbide and his dragging of Scaffold and Reaper up here earlier. Once you get, having the 8 of you is more than this little gathering of trees can hide. So you're kind of out in the open, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning, so that doesn't really matter. You get back to your Tomahawk. Let's do the Tomahawk. Okay, a couple miles away. There's some trekking, there's some dragging, and you get everyone back to the Tomahawk. Can any of you pilot it, or do I need a pilot there?
I can't pilot.
Okay.
I mean, Scaffold can.
Okay. Won't work for getting the reserve group there, so there's a pilot present.
Okay.
I got D2 and driving, so it's possible.
Okay. Yeah. In an emergency.
Attempt it.
We're kind of glossing over the final couple of details here. As soon as you get a mile away, all 8 of you, all of your HTBs just start exploding with beeps and pings and alerts and every other thing. Beachhead has tried to communicate with you, swear to God, 25 times for each one of you. And you're getting all kinds of general, all hands on deck alerts. And it's very confusing. Like, you all have to wait like a solid 45 seconds for all the alerts to come in, just so you can clear the screen and start looking at them. Okay. And you're all like, what the hell is this about? And the pilot says, I think it's about that. And he points dramatically out the window towards the moon. Okay. It's a full moon. The moon is very majestic and, beautiful and moon-like. And it takes you a second to understand that there's a discoloring around the moon. Like, it shines the kind of the white reflected, the sunlight that everyone knows and loves. But outside of that border, it's almost a gray color instead of night with stars. It's a solid gray color. So it takes you a moment to understand the context and pull your vision back to the point where you can see past the moon and the giant Saturn-sized planet behind it, fully visible to Earth.
What the?
I'm gonna need a bigger gun.
Again, stealth mode makes his head. And this has been an episode of the Energon Protocols. The Energon Protocol stars Aaron Moss as Hardman and as Stealthmode, Eric Ergen as Copper Stout, Ryan Costello as Scaffold and Shoehorn, Joshua McGuire as Reaper and Mongoose, Charles Cushman as Classified and Ghost Town, and starring Eric Smith as the Storyteller. A big thanks to Hasbro, Marvel Comics, Skybound Entertainment, and all the other comic companies for the years of great G.I. Joe resources and stories. And thanks to Renegade Studios and all their employees for their role-playing game. And a big thank you to all you listening to the Energon Protocols. This is a mostly monthly podcast where a handful of geeks get together to play the Renegade Studios role-playing game, G.I. Joe. If you like what you're listening to, check out the role-playing game yourself. Go to renegadestudios.com and check out their fine listing of games. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers, and many others. Also, be sure to check out the other shows on my network. My main G.I. Joe show is G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast, and the Brothers show, which is Bravo Team, which looks at the G.I. Joe comics, cartoons, and other assorted G.I. Joe goodness over the years. There's also Head Speaks, where I look at anything geek-related. Plus, there are several other shows available at headcast.headspeaks.com. Again, that is headcast.headspeaks.com. And if you like what I'm doing here, head over to patreon.com/headcastnetwork and throw a few bucks in the tin. Really appreciate it. And be sure to join us here next month for another amazing adventure of the Energon Protocols on the Headcast Network.
Yo, Joe.
And we are going to stop here.
A little low level for a Unicron fight.
Thank God that Classified's passed out, because that probably would have killed him.
No, he's f***ing going home. If this is what happened in the last episode of Transformers, I know what exactly it is.
Yep.
Fucking shockwave, goddammit.
Don't give too much away.
That's all I'm gonna go to.
So we are once again in sync with the events of some of the comic books.
I take it we're gonna cross over with the other team real soon.
Maybe, if I can coordinate it.
You should pull us in on one of their nights.
Yeah.
That might be easier than trying to get them all together on one of ours.
And yeah, that's a distinct possibility, but it'll be after the next session because the situation has presented itself. But the comic book that it kind of explains what goes on happens 2 days after the next Transformers session. So I have to delay it slightly. They're going to have to spend the whole session basically getting to the thing.
Cobra!